You're listening to the VegasTours.com podcast, episode number 244, talking about the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Nevada. Hit it, Carl! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the VegasTours.com podcast. My name's Mark Anthony, and across from me is...
Your wife.
Debbie.
Yep, that's my name. Debbie Anthony.
Yeah, that's her name. You know, the really cool thing about Vegas is there's a lot of history here, and especially outside of Vegas, there's a lot of history. A while back, the owner of the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Noel Sheckles, invited the Las Vegas Territory members down to Goodsprings to his saloon, the Pioneer Saloon. He had just bought it a couple years ago. To have lunch and to show us around, because there's not really much left of that town. The thing is that Goodsprings used to be the county seat. Actually, it was the first county seat when they broke up Washington County and created Clark County back in 1913. Goodsprings was a mining town. There are several mines in that area. That was kind of where all of the miners hung out. There's a lot of history there. According to the ghost hunters, there's also a lot of ghosts down there. And it's right outside of Jean, for those of you that drive between Vegas and the California border. It's right out there. It's just past what is known as the Seven Magic Mountains. The colored rocks.
Those colored rocks.
So I got to talk to the owner, and then I brought Miss Debbie down there.
Yes. I didn't get to eat the food, but it smelled really good.
It was.
They were just getting it all set up, and they were grilling the onions outdoors and getting things started. So we had just eaten breakfast, but I wouldn't mind going back and trying the food because it looked good.
Right next door is the general store, and also their gift shop. The general store was purchased in the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Back when...
You can buy a building and have it shipped to you.
Right.
All you had to do is put it together.
Back in the old days, Sears and Roebuck would be the modern version of Amazon. You could pretty much buy anything in their catalog, and they would ship it to you. And then, so this is like one of the last Sears and Roebuck buildings still in existence.
Wow.
And then the saloon dates back to 1913. They say it's haunted. Inside there is where Clark Gable, the actor, back in January of 1942, waited to hear on news of his wife, Carol Lombard, who was killed in a plane crash up on Mount Patusi as she was flying around selling war bonds. Clark stayed there for 3 days, and they have a room dedicated to him, the wall and everything. And there were a lot of movies filmed out there, a lot of commercials filmed out there. Like I said, the ghost hunters were there. And then there's a walking tour of the town, but you really can't see much because there's really not much left there. There is a one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah, there is a one-room schoolhouse, and it's a nice little walk.
Noel Sheckles purchased the bar from the last owner, and he gave us a little background on it. And so here is my talk with Noel on the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Nevada.
Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, I'm glad everybody's here, and I'm glad to see that you all made it. Good thing we had a smart bus driver, I guess. So anyway, a little bit of history about Goodsprings and about the Pioneer Saloon. Clark County. We're still part of Clark County. 100 years ago, this was Lincoln County, and Las Vegas was Lincoln County, and the original owner of the bar was named George Fail. George and his two buddies were business people, and every time they did a land deal, they had to travel to Pioche, because Pioche is where the county seat was for all of Las Vegas and all of Goodsprings. So they go, we got a great idea. Let's start a new county. So they came up with the word Clark. They came out with Clark County. So George Fail, that built the bar, and his two friends formed Clark County in 1909. so they didn't have to travel so far to get all their land deeds recorded and whatnot. I am the 4th owner of the Pioneer Saloon in the last 104 years. And so it was a booming mining town. Now back then there was 7 bars on this road, 2 mercantile stores, 4 cafes, a hotel, and 1 lady with a vision. And that one lady decided, we've got like 8,000 miners here, and we have 12 wives here. So what can we do for a business? So she was from San Francisco. And so she got on a stagecoach and headed to San Francisco and recruited 200 ladies of the evening and opened 4 brothels here. So this was the Wild West. You got bullet holes over here in the wall where there's a card fight that went bad in 1915. You can see them over here. I'll point them out. And the guy was cheating, caught cheating. And on the 4th day, they figured out that he definitely had cards up his sleeve, and they called him out on it. And he didn't want to confess, but they got in an argument and he got shot dead. But no need to worry, because it was ruled a justifiable homicide. Because back then, you couldn't steal horses and you couldn't cheat at gambling. So the penalty for them shooting and killing this guy was they had to bury him. Everybody at the table, so they carried his body out the front door and around the mountain, and he's buried over here. His name was Paul Kowski, and he is one of our most prevalent resident ghosts here. So if you ever do a ghost hunt with us, he definitely loves blonde-haired ladies, so you'd be in trouble. A lot of you guys would be in trouble. He does. He loves blondes, and it's very, very obvious. So anyway, we have a lot of fun here. We are now more or less the poster child for our state of Nevada, which we're very honored. Last year, we were picked out of a lot of different places, so you'll see us a lot advertising Nevada. You know, it used to be that they would say, come to the Strip, come, you know, they've done that for year after year after year, so they were looking for something new. So it's, don't fence me in. That's the new promotion that the Nevada is doing. And we're lucky that they're using us for that promotion. So we get tourists here from all over the world on a daily basis. We do weddings, we do corporate events, we do any kind of activity that you can imagine that's legal, okay? And we have we can seat about 320 people here. So small events, big events. Does anyone have any questions about? Yeah. Yes, Sharon.
So when did actually this? You said the saloon, the bar itself was from 1880.
The bar itself that you sit at was made in 1860. It came from Brunswick, Maine.
Okay.
Oh, and you know, you'll notice there's burn holes in the bar. That's where Clark Gable sat in 1942. His wife, actress Carol Lombard, crashed on Mount Potosi, her plane, and they used this for base camp of search and rescue. So he came here and he wanted to go with the sheriff, and the sheriff wouldn't let him go. So he sat at the bar, fell asleep, and his cigar burned the bar. So you can see those holes in the bar in here.
So what was here about 1880, which is my time period?
Well, 1880, the bar opened in 1913, but Goodsprings started in 1835 when Joseph Good came through town. 100 years ago, if you lived in Las Vegas, you would want to come out here, because on the weekend there was a lot of activity here, and that was a real sleepy little town. So to wrap back around to the beginning, when I was telling you about George Vail that built the bar originally and started Clark County, the bar has the oldest liquor license, the oldest gaming license, and the oldest restaurant license in Clark County.
Any other license?
Yeah, what's that?
Any other license?
Possibly, but I'm not sure. But so anyway, so this is kind of, we call this Vegas Ground Zero, because this is kind of where it all, the epicenter of Southern Nevada started. So today, the freeway has bypassed us. After World War I, the mining dried up, so it withered away. But the Pioneer Saloon and the cafe here is very alive and up to date and here to stay for the long haul. But it's a lot of fun to share the history with people. So when I get tourists from out of town visiting me, because I know we all do, I always let them do the Strip for a couple of days and they have a lot of fun. And then when they get that glossy look on their face, I say, let's go out to the Pioneer. What's that? And it's such an 180-degree difference from being on the Strip. It's a nice addition to their visit to Southern Nevada to show the heritage of where we all came from. So there's my speech, Earl. Yeah. No, it burned down in 1966. It was right next door. And it was considered one of the nicest hotels west of the Mississippi at the time. It was quite a hotel. Yeah. Sure. You want the official story or you want the truth? In the 60s, business was hard to come by, okay? And there wasn't a lot of people coming to Goodsprings to drink. And the hotel had a bar in it. So somehow, some way, the bar burnt down. Somebody threw something underneath the bar and it was gone. Now that's never been proven, but that is kind of the legend. That's the way the legend goes. So it made it so that there's one bar existing, so one bar is here. Now, I wasn't here, so I can't verify that story. Other people say it was just an electrical fire. But the Maltese cocktail kind of helped the electrical fire, I think, but I don't know. Yes, sir.
Where did the building come from?
Great. The building came from the Sears and Roebuck catalog, both these buildings. They were designed to go into mining towns and to be erected for 5 or 10 years while there was a boom and then be disassembled and moved somewhere else. So it's all made out of, the 2x4s are redwood, and it's skinned with stamped tin. And I think that's why this building stayed in a lot of burnt down or fell down. So it's got a lot of history. They came from New York City on a train, came to San Francisco, and were brought up here in 1909, actually. They didn't put it together for a few years. By mule train, they brought it up here. So it's not the oldest bar in Nevada. It's the oldest bar in the Clark County in Southern Nevada. But the actual bar you sit at, that possibly is the oldest bar on the West Coast, because it was like 1860 or before. And that bar came from Rhyolite, and before Rhyolite, it came from somewhere else. So we don't know really how old that bar is, but it's old. So, any other questions?
Well, no, my question was the bar in Genoa, but
Yeah.
you've already said it. You're not the oldest bar in
No,
the state.
Genoa is the oldest bar, and it's a fantastic bar. If you're ever up by Lake Tahoe, you got to see Genoa, because it was on the Pony Express. Oh, it's awesome. It has the same floor, and it looks a lot like this inside.
Right.
Yeah.
But the bar story from Rhyolite is an awesome story.
Yeah, and I wish we could track it before Rhyolite, because it was, who knows where, it's old. We have a suspicion that the bar actually came originally from San Francisco, but we can't verify that. So anyway, but it's a lot of fun, and we're glad you're here. So anybody that would like to extend this tour, just grab me and we'll go on.
We're back. Thank you, Noel, for your hospitality, your good food, and keeping Nevada history alive. That would be the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Nevada, just right outside. Of course, all of that information will be on the Vegas Tourist website. You like the little town, of course.
Yes, of course. I like history, and I like the old towns, and I like the stories are sad.
Yeah.
The Clark Gable thing, but I'm into the old history, so I enjoy that part. But
Yes, so.
and I really would like to go back and try the food because it really did look good.
We'll have to do that.
Yes.
So that's it. Any words of wisdom there, babe?
Nope. I'm ready for the next one.
All right. I'm Mark Anthony. That's Debbie Anthony. This is the VegasTourist.com podcast. As always, like this podcast, subscribe to our podcast, and leave your comments at thevegastourist.com.
Yep.
Until next time.
Yep. See you later. Till next time.
Bye.
It's getting dark, the show's about to start down on Fremont Street. There's a party going on every night of the week in Vegas. Now there's people everywhere with perfume in the air on the downtown street. dance. People wanna dance on Fremont